Discipline builds empires. Silence is your ally, not noise, not hype, not attention. Discipline, the kind that wakes you up when no one's watching, the kind that keeps you moving when every excuse tries to pull you off the path. Discipline is the steel in your spine when the world pushes back. It is the choice to grind instead of scroll, to act instead of talk, to build instead of boast. While others wait for the perfect moment, you create it, with your actions, with your consistency, with your silence. People will underestimate you when you're quiet. Good, let them. While they talk about their dreams, you're quietly executing on yours. While they chase shortcuts, you're stacking hard days on top of each other, brick by brick. Discipline doesn't need to shout, it doesn't need validation, it simply shows up, over and over, when you're tired, when you're uninspired, when you're alone. Discipline shows up. Every great empire in history wasn't built in front of a crowd. It was built behind the scenes, in dirt, in sweat, in quiet. The foundation is always built in silence. That's where your character is forged. That's where the real work lives. Anyone can be loud, anyone can talk. But not everyone can stay quiet and grind. Not everyone can sacrifice the comfort of attention for the strength of results. You build in silence because you don't need permission. You don't need the world to understand your vision. You don't owe anyone an explanation for the work you're doing. You just keep doing it, quietly, relentlessly, with zero excuses. Discipline turns the impossible into inevitable. It turns weakness into war, Eddie's strength. And it happens when no one's clapping, no spotlight, no crowd, just you, your mission, and the mindset that nothing will stop you. Silence is not weakness. Silence is focus. It is detachment from distractions. It's the mark of someone who doesn't need praise to push. You become dangerous in silence. You become unstoppable because you're not fueled by attention. You're fueled by mission, and that's the difference between amateurs and warriors. The amateur wants to be seen. The warrior wants to be effective. You build your empire with quiet reps, quiet reading, quiet reflection, quiet execution. And when the time comes, when you've built enough, when the foundation is rock solid, that silence will roar louder than any words ever could. You don't tell people what you're building, you show them, through results, through standards, through impact. Until then, you stay locked in, you keep your head down, and you let discipline do the talking. Because discipline builds empires, and silence is your ally. Win the morning, win the day. That's not a motivational slogan. It's a code, a strategy for owning your life, because the way you start determines the direction you move. When you win the morning, you don't leave the rest of the day up to chance. You take control, you take ground, you eliminate the enemy before it has a chance to strike. Most people sleep through their potential. They hit snooze, scroll through distractions, and hand the day over to weakness before it even begins. But not you. You rise with purpose. You rise with mission. Because the battle begins the moment your eyes open. And if you're not ready to fight, you've already lost. When you dominate your morning, you send a message to your mind and your body: I'm in charge. You're not led by feelings. You're not controlled by comfort. You execute the plan, no negotiations. That early discipline, that's your edge. That's where momentum is born. It's where confidence is built. You don't wait for motivation. You create it with action. Cold showers, tough workouts, deep focus, structured routines, these aren't just habits. They're weapons. The morning is your foundation. It's the one part of the day the world hasn't touched yet. No noise. No chaos. Just you, your willpower, and the opportunity to lead yourself. Because if you can lead yourself when it's dark and quiet, you'll lead yourself when it's loud and hard. Morning victory turns into daily victory. One win stacks into another until the day bends to your will. You don't win by accident. You win because you decided to show up when others were still making excuses. You train before sunrise. You read while others scroll. You prepare while others hope. And when the day hits, you're ready. You've already bled in training. You've already sharpened your blade. You're not reacting to life. You're imposing your will on it. And even on the days when it's hard, especially on those days, you get up anyway. Because you know that's when it matters most. That's when the separation happens. When others fold, you fight. When others delay, you deliver. Winning the morning isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about doing the work again and again until it becomes who you are. You own the day by owning the moment, and the morning is the first moment that counts. So you rise, you attack, and you earn that first win before the world even wakes up. Because when you win the morning, you win the day, every single time. Train when it hurts, that's when it counts. Anyone can train when they feel good. When the energy is high, when the weather is perfect, when the motivation hits, that's easy. That doesn't build grit. That doesn't build resilience. What builds you is what breaks most people. Pain, fatigue, discomfort. That's where the real work starts. That's where growth lives. When your muscles burn, when your lungs scream, when your mind says, quit. And you respond with, keep going. That's when it counts, because pain isn't the enemy, it's the test. It's the threshold that separates the average from the elite. Most people stop at pain. They see it as a red light. But you see it as a green one. When it hurts, you go harder. You don't run from it. You chase it because you know pain is feedback. It's telling you you're pushing, you're growing, you're becoming dangerous. Training when it's easy doesn't prepare you for war. Life doesn't care if you're tired. The mission doesn't wait until you feel ready. That's why you train when you don't feel like it. That's why you grind when your body wants to stop. Because you're not training for comfort. You're training for battle. You're forging the mental toughness to do what must be done, no matter how you feel. The difference between good and great. The great ones don't let pain make decisions. They don't let soreness stop them. They use it, they welcome it. They say, if it's hard, I'm in. If it burns, I'm building. Because every rep you push through when it hurts is a deposit into your strength. Every time you keep going when your mind says stop, you sharpen your edge. You become more, you become a machine. This is where warriors are made. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, in lonely gyms, on cold runs, during long, brutal hours of repetition when nobody's watching and nobody cares. You don't train for attention. You train because the standard demands it. You train because your future self is counting on it. When the pain hits and you keep going, that's when it counts, because that's where your identity is shaped. You're telling yourself, I don't break, I don't fold, I execute. And when you stack those moments, day after day, you become something unshakable. You don't just train the body, you train the will, the kind of will that can't be bought, can't be taught. It's earned in the pain, in the fire. So when it hurts, good. That's the moment you've been waiting for. That's the moment that separates the talkers from the doers. That's when the real ones rise. Train when it hurts. That's when it counts. Feed your mind. Starve the noise. In a world that's louder than ever, the strongest weapon you can wield is a sharp, focused mind. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens through discipline, through intentional decisions, every single day. Your mind is either being built or broken by what you consume. There is no neutral. Every scroll, every click, every conversation is either sharpening your edge or dulling it. Most people are drowning in noise. Useless opinions, clickbait headlines, meaningless entertainment. They fill their heads with garbage and wonder why they're lost, distracted, and weak. But not you. You choose what you let in. You protect your mental environment like a fortress. You treat your mind like a battlefield, not a playground, because you know that clarity, focus, and mental toughness are earned through discipline, not distraction. Feeding your mind means consuming knowledge, not nonsense. It means reading when others scroll, studying while others watch, listening to wisdom instead of noise. Every page, every lesson, every challenge, it's fuel. It's sharpening your mind so you can lead, so you can win, so you can operate at a higher level than the rest. You don't just want to survive in this world. You want to dominate, and that starts in the mind. Starving the noise isn't easy. The world is engineered to distract you. Notifications, trends, gossip. But discipline means saying no. It means turning it off. It means silencing the world so you can hear yourself think. It means choosing growth over comfort, solitude over stimulation, silence over chatter, because you understand that focus is your edge. And noise is the enemy of focus. Every moment you give to distraction is a moment stolen from your mission. Every time you waste your attention, you weaken your momentum. So you draw the line, you decide, what I consume will build me, not break me. What I focus on will fuel me, not drain me. That's the mindset of a warrior. That's the path of a leader. That's how transformation begins. Feeding your mind is about building discipline, one thought at a time. It's about challenging your own assumptions, confronting your weaknesses, and forging strength from the inside out. It's about training your mind to lead when your body wants to quit, to stay locked in when the world tries to pull you away. That mental toughness is your weapon, but it only grows when you feed it and protect it. So you read, you learn, you reflect, you prepare, you starve the noise, you cut out what doesn't serve the mission. You don't follow trends, you follow truth. You don't chase stimulation, you chase mastery, and while the rest of the world is busy being entertained, you're getting smarter, stronger, sharper, because your mind is a tool, and you're building it with intention. Feed your mind, starve the noise. That's how warriors think. That's how leaders win. Don't chase motivation, command yourself. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. It's tied to emotions, weather, mood, and 100 other variables you can't control. If your actions depend on motivation, you'll be inconsistent, and inconsistency kills progress. The truth is, you don't need motivation. You need command. You need to become the kind of person who doesn't wait to feel ready. You execute because the mission requires it, not because you feel inspired. People waste their lives waiting for a spark, waiting for that perfect feeling to start. They scroll for quotes, listen to podcasts, watch videos, hoping something lights a fire under them. But the fire doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. Discipline is internal. It's forged through habits, through repetition, through refusing to give yourself an out. That's what separates the committed from the casual. When you command yourself, you give orders to your body and your mind, and you expect them to obey. You don't negotiate with fatigue. You don't reason with laziness. You show up, no matter what, because the mission is non-negotiable. You set the standard, and you hold it, day after day, regardless of how you feel. Command is power. Command is responsibility. It means you own every part of your process. No excuses, no blame, just action. That's where real growth comes from, when you stop hoping and start directing, when you stop feeling and start leading. Leadership starts with self. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anything else. There will be days when you wake up and feel empty. Days when your body aches, your mind is scattered, your heart isn't in it. That's when command kicks in. That's when you prove who you really are. Because anyone can work when it's easy. Anyone can show up when the energy is high, but the warrior shows up when there's nothing left in the tank. The warrior doesn't chase motivation, he commands action. Command means getting up when it's dark and cold. It means doing the work no one sees. It means pushing through when everything in you screams for comfort. It means replacing "I don't feel like it" with "I said I would." That's the difference between average and elite. The elite don't care how they feel. They care what must be done. You aren't controlled by feelings. You control them. You don't wait for permission. You give yourself orders and you carry them out. That's discipline. That's power. That's the edge. So stop chasing feelings. Stop hoping to be motivated. Hope is not a strategy. Discipline is. Ownership is. Command is. The world belongs to those who act, not those who wait. Give yourself the order. Follow through every single day. Don't chase motivation. Command yourself. Rise above weak surroundings. Elevate your standard. You weren't made to fit in with mediocrity. You weren't built to conform to the laziness, the excuses, the distractions that plague the world around you. Weak surroundings are everywhere. People coasting through life, blaming others, choosing comfort over responsibility. If you stay in that environment, it will shape you. But if you rise above it, if you refuse to let it define you, you begin to change everything, not just for yourself, but for those watching silently, hoping someone will lead. You don't need permission to raise your standard. You don't need validation to want more. You make the decision, I will not be like them. I will not lower myself to match the world. I will rise, and I will raise everything around me with relentless discipline, execution, and purpose. That's what it takes to be uncommon. You can't expect to grow in an environment that encourages comfort. If your circle is full of people who avoid challenge, mock ambition, and make excuses for failure, then your only choice is to rise above it. Not with words, but with action, not by arguing or explaining, but by showing what discipline looks like, what excellence looks like. You don't need to preach when you can prove. Elevating your standard means setting expectations that others won't understand, and holding yourself to them even when it's hard. It means not accepting what's good enough for most people. It means doing the extra rep, reading the extra page, working the extra hour. Not because anyone is watching, but because that's who you've decided to be. You become the standard when you refuse to settle. You become the standard when you stop participating in the weak habits that surround you. Gossip, excuses, procrastination. Those things die when you choose discipline over approval. When you live by a higher code, a higher mission, you rise, and you rise alone because most people won't come with you. They'll stay where it's comfortable, let them. Weakness is contagious, but so is strength. When you elevate your standard, you force others to make a choice, rise with you or stay behind, and if they stay behind, you keep moving. Because your loyalty is to growth, to mission, to becoming what you were meant to be, not to the comfort of fitting in. The world needs examples, not echoes. It needs leaders, not followers. It needs warriors who stand tall when others shrink. You are not meant to blend in. You are meant to break through, to rise, to build, to become a force that turns pressure into power. So raise the bar, push the limits, walk with strength, speak with purpose, act with fire. Let the weak fall away. Let your standard become your legacy. Rise above weak surroundings, elevate your standard, ignore applause, respect your own grind. The moment you start chasing praise is the moment you start losing focus. Applause is a distraction. Validation is a trap. If you need people to clap for you to keep moving, then you're not built for war. You're built for performance. You're dancing for approval instead of digging into the mission. That's weakness, that's insecurity, and it kills greatness before it even begins. The grind is sacred. It's the part no one sees, the part that doesn't trend, the part that never gets a like. It's early mornings, sore muscles, tired eyes, and long hours of repetition. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it's real, and if you don't respect it, if you don't honor it, you'll never last, because this isn't about who watches, it's about who finishes. People will cheer when you succeed. They'll clap when they see results. But where are they when you're bleeding in silence? Where are they when you're putting in the work alone? They're not there, and that's the point. You don't do it for them. You do it for the standard, for the code you live by, for the future you're building. Your grind isn't for their entertainment, it's for your evolution. If applause motivates you, then criticism will break you. You can't build anything solid on the shifting sands of opinion. Today they love you, tomorrow they forget you. Applause is loud, but temporary. The grind is quiet, but permanent. The grind is what you carry with you. It's what shows up when life punches you in the mouth. Applause won't save you in battle. Discipline will, reps will, consistency will. You keep showing up, not because someone's watching, but because that's who you are. That's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs need to be seen, professionals need to improve. You keep your head down, your focus locked, your standards high. You don't break for attention. You don't pause for recognition. You respect your own grind because it's the foundation of everything that matters. And when the results come, you stay quiet. You let your work speak. You let your actions echo. You don't need to tell people what you've done. They'll feel it, they'll see it, and by then, you'll already be on the next task. That's the mindset of a true operator. Never satisfied, never distracted, always moving forward. So don't wait for applause. Don't let praise become your reward. Let growth be your reward. Let strength, discipline, and focus be what you celebrate. And when no one claps, you still grind. When no one notices, you still rise. Because this isn't about noise. It's about results. It's about mission. Ignore applause. Respect your own grind. That's how warriors are built. Build in silence. Let success make the noise. There's power in quiet work. Power in grinding without announcing every step. The world loves noise, flashy posts, constant updates, loud promises, but real work, real progress, that happens behind closed doors, away from the crowd. Building in silence means focusing on the mission without distraction, without needing validation, without showing off. Because you understand the truth, results don't need hype. Results speak for themselves. When you build in silence, you protect your energy. You guard your focus like a warrior guarding his fortress. Every moment wasted on explaining, justifying, or seeking approval is a moment stolen from growth. The less you talk, the more you do. The quieter your work, the louder your success will sound. This is the mindset that separates talkers from doers, dreamers from achievers. Silent building means patience. It means trusting the process even when no one sees it. When you're grinding alone, pushing through fatigue and doubt, that's where character is forged. When you work without applause, you're working for yourself, not for the crowd. You become immune to distractions, immune to negativity, immune to the noise that pulls others off course. You develop focus that cuts through chaos. Success is inevitable when your effort is consistent. It is the natural result of relentless, disciplined work. And when success arrives, it doesn't whisper, it shouts. It demands attention. It makes noise loud enough to silence every doubter, every critic, every distraction that tried to pull you down. You don't have to prove anything on the way up. You just have to keep building, keep showing up, keep moving forward. The world will try to rush you. It will want you to broadcast your progress, to seek validation, to perform for the crowd. Don't fall for it. You're not building a show. You're building a legacy, one that stands the test of time, that lasts beyond fleeting applause, that commands respect because it's real, not because it's loud. Let your work be your voice. Let your discipline be your statement. Let your success be the noise that everyone hears. When you build in silence, you keep your mind clear, your mission pure, and your drive unstoppable. You don't get distracted by shallow praise or empty criticism. You're locked in on what matters. In the end, it's not about who noticed first. It's about who kept going longest, who endured when others quit, who built something unshakable out of sweat, patience, and relentless effort. Build in silence. Let success make the noise. That's how winners are made.